Hello everyone, I'm Ferdi Salvador. Join us in unlocking the tricks of the trade here on Trade Talks. Let's get down to business. Celebrating Filipiniana fashion has been embraced by the mature and the young alike. It's not only used for formal occasion, but has evolved in smart casual, business, and daily wear. A multitude of designers have helped fuel this movement and has become stronger than ever. This morning, we will take notes from a fashion maven consumer turned to fashion designer Techie German Hagedorn on how she championed her brand, Alegre, into a staple of society for women and men. Good morning, Techie. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Ferdi. Thank you for having
I
me.
know you're very busy because it is the season for you. You've got different bazaars happening in Manila, but I want to find out, you took economics in the University of the Philippines.
I did.
How did you turn into a fashion designer?
How did I turn into a fashion designer? I actually worked corporate
Okay.
for 10 years before I turned into fashion. But I've always been into fashion. I love fashion. So, I mean, even when I was doing corporate work, I always did fashion as a side business.
Really? Like what kind?
I was selling export overruns. So I was actually the first one that introduced that to the market.
Really?
Yes.
And where would you get them? Around the Philippines?
Yes,
or?
from the local factories
Okay.
of the Philippines. So
Okay.
I would buy and then I would join pop-ups, I would join bazaars and sell them as a little side hustle.
Yes, but and everybody knows you to be, completely on point every time you go to society events, and
Wow.
and you're definitely a fixture in that in the perfume world, right? But why Filipiniana inspired pieces?
I've always, I mean, we've seen the trend of the past couple of years, right? A lot of designers have incorporated a lot of Filipino weaves, Filipino designs, textures into their designs, and I think now is the time to make it mainstream.
Yes, but you are very heavy into that. I mean, I think one of the proponents of this movement is Techie Hagedorn. So I think you should claim it.
Really? Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of it actually that did that when it, when I want to say when Philippine weaves were rediscovered.
Yes.
So I think I rode that wave at the right time.
Mm-hmm. And what was your inspiration? Because I see your pieces. They're not obviously you're wearing a barong this morning, but I see that you've incorporated guayaberas into your repertoire, into your designs, and you made it feminine. And now it looks very Filipiniana. What's the inspiration?
I take inspiration from, of course, I like, I read fashion magazines, what is current,
yes,
of course, and I take it a step further by incorporating what I can of Filipiniana.
Yes.
So I also don't want it to look costumey.
Yes.
Because we've always thought about Filipiniana as pang-costume, araw ng, Filipino Day, and they wear it to school.
So,
there. So, I mean, outside of wearing the poncho from Baguio,
yes,
I wanted to incorporate these weaves into more modern looking pieces.
I noticed that you use a lot of materials from different parts of the Philippines, from the north all the way to the south. Do you travel up and down the country to source?
Truth is, I actually go to a lot of the trade fairs.
Okay.
Where you can find all these weavers that come together in one venue, and that's where I do a lot of my sourcing. But I have visited them, some of them, in the places where they do the actual weaving.
Yes.
And I have sourced there, but a good place also to go to is when the DTI, they do a lot of these fairs.
Yes.
So that's a good place to start. And
what's the rarest material you've ever come across that's made in the Philippines?
I wouldn't say the rarest, but I think the most, I love ikat.
Okay.
it's a difficult weave. It's a more higher priced weave just because of the process that goes into it.
Yes, the artisanal process.
Yes, and you know, in the past, we used to see ikat used as home furnishing. So we find it as table runners, lampshades.
I know, I have lampshades that are
Yes.
ikat. Yeah.
But now, you know, they're doing weaves in cotton.
Yes.
So now we've been able to use a lot of the ikat weave into making them into clothing.
What do you deal with, aside from cotton, do you deal with other materials as fabrics?
For, well, I use husi for the barongs. And of course, a lot of the Filipino weaves actually are, that's why they don't really use a lot of cotton.
Okay.
So we can't really use a whole like gown in Filipiniana.
Yes.
Mahirap.
Yes,
Kasi
because
medyo
Philippine cotton
matigas.
is actually rare and it's expensive to
Yes.
loom because we don't really
Yes.
produce it,
Our
right?
own, yes.
Yeah, but I've noticed with the collections, I mean, behind me, I'm sure we're showing a few of your photos, but I see now you're going into a lot of embroidery, a lot
Yes.
of what you call it, cutouts. This, it means to say that you're evolving with your with your design and your use of materials. But before that, when did you start Alegre?
So I started it, if my kids are 17 now, I started it when they were 2 years old, so 15 years ago.
I know your kids are so big.
Yeah, I have twin girls.
15 years ago.
15 years ago, I started it because, you know, I retired from the corporate world when I married Philip.
Yes.
And of course, 2 years later, my kids
I
are...
think she's faulting you, Philip.
I was happy to retire
Yeah.
from the corporate world.
Okay.
But I wanted something to do, so I thought, of course, fashion was the way to go for me because I've been passionate about fashion. So
Okay. And when you started this, how many pieces were you producing?
not very many because I was mainly making for myself.
Okay.
In the beginning, I
Okay.
made beach cover-ups, embellished ones for
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
And my friends were very encouraging, and they said, "Oh, we really like it.
Can we buy?
Can you sell to us? Can you
Yes.
make?" So that sort of pushed me, encouraged me. So I had to sort of really start from nowhere,
Yes.
not knowing patterns and everything, and didn't even have my own mananahe.
Yes.
And
So you had to learn the process,
I had to
Techie.
learn everything, and it was really a trial and error process.
Did you go to school for that? Did you take
No, I
courses?
didn't. No, but I really read books on it, and
So, wow.
it was really trial and error.
But this is the school of hard knocks. I mean,
Yes.
you know, pattern making is difficult, and cutting, that's a whole different animal put
It
all
is.
together.
So I have a very good pattern maker and a very good cutter.
And the materials that you're using, like husi, they're delicate. I mean, once you make a mistake, that's it.
Right.
You can't really repurpose a portion where that was damaged, right?
That's why, so I am very much involved in the design process. And even in that, there have been hits and misses, especially when I was starting out. You know, I had to really see what does the market want.
Yeah.
It can't just be what suits me.
Yes.
You know, I have to think of what the clients want, and there. So that was a real, you know, learning process for me.
But that learning process of yours, was it quick? I mean, because fashion, it is fast, right? So how long did it take you to gestate? Okay, I made a mistake. Maybe the colors weren't correct, or the pattern was not correct. The material was correct, but then my design wasn't. How did you quickly turn those learnings around?
So that was quick, like you said. I mean, I had to move on. Okay, that didn't work. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's really evolving. It's a learning process. I'm still learning to this day. 15 years later, I'm still learning.
Wow. And you know, when you started, I'm sure you were selling in your home.
I started, yes. So I was selling from my little den in my house, and then
Which I know very well.
Yes, and then I got picked up by Amanpulo.
You're in Aman, okay.
I was in Amanpulo for
Okay.
my beach cover-ups.
Yes.
I did supply to Balasin
Yes.
for a while, and then I was consigning to some stores in Greenbelt.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I decided, you know what, I'll do this on my own. So I was selling from my house, and then I joined pop-ups.
But do you have a regular store now, or it's
No,
just
I don't.
online?
Everything is online, everything is in pop-ups.
Okay, so then you can control the seasonality of your
Yes.
collections. And how many pop-ups do you do in a year?
So I joined Katutubo pop-ups, and
Yeah.
then I joined Artefino,
Yes.
And it's good. It's good for me. I want to say maybe 9 months out of the year. So I get a break. I can travel, spend time with my kids.
Cook.
Because it's really difficult if I can only imagine the hardships of store owners. You know, you have to keep churning, have to keep coming up with new things. So at least with bazaring, selling online, you get a little bit of a break from that.
Yes. Well, of course. I mean, you do need to take a break, but then fashion doesn't sleep because it's, as I said, it's a seasonal thing. But I'm so happy that you can actually dictate your time and your seasonality. Now let's go talk about who is the Alegre or Techie Hagedorn ideal woman to dress.
Wow. Okay. The ideal woman. I mean, I'd like to say that it's the woman that's really confident, a confident woman that knows what suits her, that doesn't ride on trends so much and not rides on, what's in today and out tomorrow. It's more of a woman that knows really how she can carry the clothes rather than the clothes carrying her. And it's that it's been used so much, it's so much of a cliche, but it's that empowered woman that really knows what she wants.
Yes.
And
Do you have Filipina muses?
do I have, Karen Davila is a muse of mine. She was my #1 supporter since I started my business. And actually, she was very instrumental, I want to say, in the growth of where Alegre is today. Because, I dressed her for many years.
What about other women?
Other women, maybe Odette Pumaren.
Odette Pumaren is I think she's one of the best dressed women here in the country.
So, a lot of my friends are really super supportive kasi of what I do. So, and they are such, forces in their industries.
Yes.
So, it's them.
Yes. What about, I'm sure the way I know you, you're also going to be evolving from fashion to accessories to homeware and the like. Are there any plans?
I used to do accessories, actually.
Okay.
When I started Alegre 15 years ago, it was clothing and accessories.
Okay.
So I did the accessories already. I did a lot of chunky jewelry, beads and coral and all of that. So, and then I took a break from that, only because I found it was difficult to source the components.
Yes.
But because I traveled for that to source elsewhere.
Like South, let's say Cebu and the materials there.
And I traveled overseas.
Oh, to find the components. But we're gonna talk more about how your brand is evolving. We're gonna take a short breather. Trade Talks will be right back. And we're back. You're still watching Trade Talks here on BNC. Still with us, the founder and designer of Alegre, Techie Hagedorn. So I was asking you, the evolution of Alegre. You mentioned that you traveled for your accessories, and in the beginning you had you had that as part of your collection. Are you gonna go into home?
Am I gonna go into home? I did think about it. I considered it, but not right now. I think I'll concentrate in the fashion side of it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Okay, I'm gonna castigate you. In fact, okay. What about for men? How do you see us dressing in Filipiniana without having to look too formal, or what they say, the gusot barong, or gusot mayaman rather?
Yeah.
How do you see us dressing in your pieces?
I think so many designers right now are making fabulous Filipiniana clothes for men.
Yes, yes.
There's so many of them. And I think it's really veered away from the costumey look already. It's really mainstream. You see really a lot of, even the hoosy, there's embroidered hoosy for men and with designs. And I think men should actually embrace and wear it on a daily basis.
But what's the Alegre man?
You, why?
I'd wear your pieces any day. I've been
Yeah.
asking you for years. But what collection would you put together for men?
You know, I tried. So I did a very small capsule collection.
Okay.
Last year, I launched it last year, and it did really well. So I think I'll continue with that. Just those linen shirts with a benguet trim.
Yes.
Super easy classics, not too funky.
Yes.
But really, you can wear it on a day-to-day basis.
Would you delve into actually dealing with, because you know weaving now unfortunately is not a very lively industry.
It's a dying industry.
Yes,
sadly.
it's cultural too. Are you going to be supporting these weavers in the future and actually tell them, hey, ma'am weaver, you know, I want to continue this and perhaps you can make, you know, pieces for me or garments for me?
I think in my small way, I mean, my business is really small. And in my small way, I think I've contributed into doing that.
Absolutely.
Because I use a lot of hand embroidery. I use a lot of woven fabrics. But sadly, like you said, it is a dying industry. We see a lot of the weavers are very old ladies.
Yes.
None of their children want to take this up anymore.
Yes.
They want to be call center agents or they want to work in a bank.
Yes.
No, that's not such a bad thing. But my prayer is that they are able to pass this on to the next generation. And hopefully if more designers are supporting it, which I think a lot of people are, then there will be interest from them to continue on their legacy of you know, the weaving and the embroidery. Because there are stories, you know, there's fabulous stories.
And they're very inspiring. In fact, like the image behind me right now. I mean, I would wear that on a daily basis because I think they're amazing. But you know, I think perhaps in the next few collections, I'm going to be watching out for those elements from you. But talking about this, because you breathe and sleep and eat fashion every day. How do you manage to have a work-life balance with your business, your children, your husband, and of course, always being, you know, front row and center in society events?
You know, my family will always come first.
Yes.
So my priority, my husband and my children. And you know, the fashion, the business is secondary to that. I think I've been able to handle my time very well, to manage that time. And I've always just said, in the hierarchy of my life, it's always family first.
Yes.
For me.
But you know, coming from an economics and corporate background, how have you used that to manage your brand?
Believe it or not, I'm an economics graduate, but I'm not very good with numbers. So, I know.
I graduated with economics as well, but I'm not very good with numbers either.
Yeah. So with having said that, I mean, I've gotten a lot of help from my husband who does the numbers for me. And, you know, he talks numbers with me with regard to my business. So I get a lot of help from him in that.
What about the girls, your children? Do you want to pass on this business to them?
I pray that they're
Are they interested?
Right now, they are living for sports. That's their life. They are athletes, and I'm encouraging that. And maybe, hopefully, later on, they'll show some interest in it. But yeah, I think they're supportive. They come to my bazaars. They
better sell.
They see what I do. I think they like it.
Yes. What about other influences that's coming forward with your new collections? What are you looking into? What are the trends that Techie Hagedorn's picking at?
Okay, so I am aiming to launch a new collection this year, in the middle of this year, and it will concentrate on embroidery. It will have some embroidery in it, but it will feature heavily on the mountain province. So
Nice.
with elements from the mountain province.
Yes. I'm sure our viewers are, you know, looking at you and how well dressed you are. They're thinking, can I afford these pieces?
Oh yes, absolutely.
What is your range?
I'm friendly. My prices are friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
What range can you
So my
tell me?
pieces start from maybe 3,500
Okay.
upwards. Now, if we're talking about hand embroidered, ikat weave, maybe we'll go to 12,000. But that's thereabouts.
Really,
the price
but
range.
those prices are so, I wouldn't call them friendly, but those are, wow, they're just not more than friendly, right? Because you're talking about artisanally made pieces.
Yes.
Embroidery is very expensive. Ikat, the process itself, and then finishing it into a garment, that's quite pricey. But with your prices, I'm quite surprised.
I want to see people wearing what I make. So,
Okay.
So I mean, I'm not also going to be, arrogant
Yes.
in my pricing.
Yes.
So I just want to be able to, really, there is a certain joy in seeing somebody wearing what you've made.
Let me ask you on the corporate side or the business side, what was your worst financial investment?
Oh gosh, I can't even, like outside of the business, you mean?
Yeah. Or even in the business.
Worst financial investment.
Or biggest financial regret.
Biggest financial, to be honest, I don't handle the finance. It's really my husband. Let's ask him that question.
So he's regretful.
He's the finance guy, so let's ask him.
Okay, what about a very good financial investment or best investment decision?
When I started the business, this is the first time I'm sharing this.
Yeah.
I asked my husband to invest, to loan me the money.
Okay.
To start this business.
Wow.
Because I needed to buy fabrics, I
Yeah.
needed to pay the mananahe, I
Yeah.
needed to and it was a learning process. So I wasn't really sure when I was going to make this back, but I borrowed a sum of money from him, and I'm happy to say after a year I paid him.
Well, that is a very good investment, in fact.
He actually thought it was a dead investment, but I did pay him.
Yeah.
So I'm proud to say that, he believed in me.
Of course, everybody likes your pieces, so it was a good investment on his part. What would you tell a Techie Hagedorn, a 10-year-old Techie Hagedorn?
Oh gosh, I was a very insecure, unsure 10-year-old, Really, I'm the third child of 5. I'm the middle child. So what would I say? I don't think she would have believed, the 10-year-old, that I would be making clothes now, an entrepreneur. But I would say, hey, you're gonna be doing what you love someday.
I should say, you're gonna be great. I'm sure you can't verbalize it, but I'll tell you right now, you're gonna be great. And your biggest mistake?
Oh gosh, my biggest mistake. Not believing in myself earlier, not taking that leap when I should have. And there were some lost opportunities then, but I think it's no sense in looking back. I'm just aiming to always look ahead.
Thank you, Techie, for letting us into your world and into your business. We look forward to seeing more of Alegre in the next coming seasons.
And thank you for having me. This was fun.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
That is it for today's show. I'm Ferdi Salvador. Catch the Billionaire News Channel on Free TV Channel 31 and on cable via Signal Channel 24. Thanks for watching the Billionaire News Channel. Always on top.